And welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level grammar lesson. Today we're going to continue talking about second conditional to talk about things that are untrue in both the present and the future. So answer these questions about what you would do in each situation, and if you would like to generate some conversation, you can go ahead and put your answers in the comments. What would you do if you didn't have an English lesson now? What would you do if you found a wallet on the sidewalk? What would you do if you had $10 million? And what would you do if you saw a man climbing into your neighbor's window? So we're going to review the difference between the first and the second conditional. So the first conditional is, if I have time, I will come. So the if clause is in the simple present, and the result clause is in the future. The second conditional is, if I had time, I would come. So here, in the first one, the two clauses talk about a true situation, and in the second conditional, both clauses talk about a situation that is not true. Right, in the second conditional if clause, we use the past simple. So the structure is if plus the past simple plus a comma plus would plus the verb. For I, he, she, and it, we use were in the if clause because the situation is unreal or hypothetical. Now, some speakers use was when the situation is possible but untrue, untrue at the moment, and if they are speaking informally. So if I were rich, I would not work at all. If he were taller, he would play basketball. If she was more hardworking, she would get good grades. So imagine that you are someone else and make a second conditional sentence. So if I were the president, I would. If I were super rich, if I were the smartest person in the world, if I were younger, if I were older. And again, you can put your answers in the comments. We often use if I were you, them, him, her, etc. to express an opinion or give a suggestion. So go ahead and match the two halves to see if you can make some logical suggestions. You can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. If I were you, I would talk to her about it. You can't be enemies forever. If I were him, I would quit my job. He hates working there. If I were in her shoes, I would take a holiday. She must be tired. And if I were that child's father, I wouldn't let my son speak to me like that. Now you can answer these hypothetical questions. And again, just we'll have some fun if you would put your answers in the comments and generate some discussion. If you were a teacher, what would you teach? If you were the president of your country, what would you change? If you were an artist, what would you create? And if you were an animal, what animal would you be? All right, so we're going to make some second conditional sentences, and you're going to fill in with the correct form of the verb to be. So go ahead and pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So if I were an old man, I wouldn't like today's music. If we were on vacation right now, we would probably be relaxing at the beach. I'm sure that those children wouldn't act like that if their parents were here. If I wasn't if I weren't so tired, I would meet you for dinner tonight. All right, we can use the contraction apostrophe D to mean would. So I'd go with you, you'd help her, he'd finish that report, she'd turn off the radio, we'd leave now, and they'd meet tonight. So she'd go if you asked her is the same thing as saying she would go if you asked her. So in the second conditional, with the result clause can use different modal verbs to show different meanings. Would shows certainty or a likely result. If I won the lottery, I would buy a big house. Could shows the possibility or ability. If I won the lottery, I could give the money away. And might shows uncertainty or a weaker possibility. If I won the lottery, I might share it with my family. Right, so here's some sentences and you compare the meanings. So if you leave now, you will catch the 10:40 bus. So that's like a certainty. If you leave now, you can catch the 10:40 bus. So that is a possibility. If you left now, you would catch the 10:40 bus. So again, this is something, it's showing possibility. Uh, if you left now, you could catch the 10:40 bus, and if you left now, you might catch the 10:40 bus. So these become less likely as you go along. Might is the least likely to occur. All right, so we're going to compare the sentences. If you leave now, you will catch the 10:40 bus. The person thinks this is true and that the result will happen. You can catch the 10:40 bus, true, and the result is possible. Would catch the 10:40 bus, thinks this is not likely, or it's not true, but gives the most likely result. If you left now, you could catch the 10:40 bus, think this is not true, but gives a possible result. And if you left now, you might catch the 10:40 bus, thinks that this is not true, but is not sure about the result. So could is used to show possibilities. If we stopped working at 3 p.m., we could go biking, or we could go to the beach, or we could get ice cream. So many possibilities. All right, and now you can make some of your own sentences. And again, if you'd like to share, you can put those in the comments about some things you could do in each of these situations. All right, now you're going to choose the best modal, would, could, or might, to complete the second conditional sentence. And it's more than one may be correct, so just choose the one that seems most reasonable to you. Pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to continue. If it were sunny this afternoon, we could go to the beach, or maybe we could go for a walk. You know what? If you stop talking so much, you could finish your homework in 10 minutes, and then we might go outside to play. So now use might or could plus a verb to make second conditional sentences. You can try these on your own and then restart when you're ready to continue. Again, these can be just your own ideas, no single right or wrong answer, just whatever you think is best. And I'll type in some possible answers. Okay, if school ended today, we could go to the movies, or we might just go home. If I lived next door to my best friend, I could see her every day. If I won the lottery, I could help lots of people. If Sammy didn't have the internet, he might get more sleep, stays up too late on the internet. we could we could go to the museum if we had more time. They could go skiing if they weren't scared. Too many eyes and skiing there. All right, so now choose the correct verb form in each of these sentences. And you can pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to see the answers. If you would listen to your teacher, you would understand what to do in class. If it rains tomorrow, I might just stay home. Scarlett could come with us if we had room in the car. If you remember, please call your father today. Please don't open the door if someone knocks while I am out. If I had more money, I could quit my job. We could all live in peace if people stopped hating each other. If they lived closer, we might see them more often. All right, so now read about each person and write a second conditional sentence using would, might, or could. Walking is nice, but with a car, we would be able to go so many more places. And I want to play a sport in high school, but I don't practice. I want to make the softball team. So here you could say, if we bought a car, we could go to many more places. If I practiced more, I might make the softball team. I want to go on a cruise, but I don't have enough money. If I saved more money, I could go on a cruise, or I would go on a cruise. He doesn't feel well. The doctor told him that he needs to eat healthier. So if he ate healthier, he would feel better. And now for each situation, offer 3 suggestions using would, could, or might. And again, feel free to add these ideas in the comments. Yannick is very intelligent, however, he is also lazy. He complains that he doesn't have a job, but he won't look for one. You are tired of hearing him complain. Amir arrives late at work every day. He always has a headache in the morning. He never eats breakfast. And he always looks tired. On top of that, he is always in a bad mood. So there are many different options. I'll just give a few examples. So if Yannick weren't so lazy, he might find a job. And if Amir ate breakfast, he wouldn't look so tired. And then you can add some other ideas of your own. So a total of 6 sentences, 3 for each situation. Same thing here. You're going to offer 3 suggestions for each of these situations using would, could, or might, and an if clause. And same thing with these, just more practice. All right, so are these sentences true for you? And if they're not, go ahead and share your answers in the comments and tell us why. Same thing with time travel. Again, go ahead and answer these questions in the comments. If you could travel in time, where would you go? What would you want to see? Would you like to see a historic event? And if so, which one? And who would you like to visit? Now write a conditional sentence about one of the jobs below without saying what the job is. So if I had this job, I might be scared sometimes. And then in the comments, people may be able to try to take a guess at, at which job you're talking about. This one, probably police officer. You might be scared if you're working as a police officer. So it's a fairly dangerous job. Right, so now you can use the chart below to review the difference between the first and the second conditional. First conditional is true in the present and the future. The speaker thinks that something will happen, and the structure is if plus the present simple. Second conditional is untrue in the present and future. The speaker thinks that something will probably not happen, and the structure is if plus the past simple. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave comments, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.